Welcome to All Things Marketing Podcast, the podcast that talks all things marketing for both franchise and multi-location marketing leaders. ATM is brought to you by PureDriven. We'll show you how to turn your brand into a money-making machine. Here's your host, Steve Rockwood.
Hello and welcome to ATM. My name is Steve Rockwood and I'm the marketing manager at PureDriven. Today we are going to talk about making the most of trade shows. I am joined by our co-host Chris Swanson, the CEO of PureDriven, as well as the head of franchise development. Chris, how are we doing today?
I'm doing awesome, Steve. We're having a great time. The show is really rocking. I love seeing the stats that you've been providing me and all the people that are jumping in and listening to this podcast. So thank you to everybody who's listening to this. It's great to give you some information that's going to help your brand succeed.
Definitely. Now, I know that we are all things marketing, but even for us, this is pretty old news. We're talking about trade shows. So, Chris, why are we talking about trade shows today?
I know. I mean, really, trade shows? I mean, this is crazy. You think about a trade show. I remember back in 2008, 2009, I thought trade shows might be like dead. I actually said that to somebody one time. I'm ashamed to admit that publicly, but at that time, you remember the economy was just crashing and travel budgets just declined significantly. If you did make it to the trade show, nobody was spending any money. I mean, these places look like ghost towns. We had, people just not showing up. It was not good. And at the same time, you saw technology emerging that felt like maybe we were going to see a major paradigm shift. But humans are social people. We love, looking each other in the eyes and spending time talking to each other over a really bad meal at a trade show because they're never great, right?
But they're usually in a warm place.
Yeah, that's right. And we try to go to those warm places, especially all winter long.
We do.
But no, trade shows. And when we speak trade shows, I just want to clarify, what we're talking about. Anything that's a conference, a yearly event, an opportunity to get together with like-minded people. And I don't care what marketing you're doing, you need to be paying attention to those industry trade shows, those places where you can actually get out, speak, or maybe even share your brand, have a booth and all that fun stuff that we do at the trade shows.
Yeah. So, Chris, what do you personally love about trade shows? You've attended probably hundreds at this point.
Maybe thousands at this point.
It's been a lot.
Yeah. What I love about trade shows is you get to be around like-minded people who are, I always say, willing to do business. So often in marketing, we're sending out messages or hoping that somebody sees something we put out. And we know in the back of our mind that a bulk of those people are not interested. In a trade show environment, a bulk of the people are actually excited about what you have to offer and talk about because they know that could potentially help them out. And so they come there typically with open minds and open wallets. And that's what we want in the world of business, is to solve people's problems and get paid.
Yeah, it's almost like a museum sometimes, depending on which trade show it is, where you kind of walk around, you're like, wow, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's cool. I wonder what they do.
and I have different strategies for every trade show I go to. I go to some trade shows with the full intention of only meeting potential clients. Other times I go to trade shows knowing there's clients there, and I want to just go and say hi. Other times I go to trade shows, and I actually have a vendor structure strategy where I am looking to talk to vendors because there's interesting vendors at these shows that might be a benefit to what I'm trying to do. So there's a different reason I go to all the different trade shows I do, but at the end of the day, I always walk away with bare minimum. I always walk away with one piece of information, and usually it's 100. Usually I'm actually more overwhelmed after I'm done with it because I've gotten so much information. I've met so many new connections. So they can be very valuable, even though they're a very traditional way to market yourself.
Yeah, and then I was going to say, you can always take that traditional method and turn that into a more modern approach by connecting with those people after on LinkedIn or Facebook, however you want to connect with them. And then, they'll share your stuff to their connections, and then you just create a big link to more people in that industry.
Right.
Which is always great.
And, just some tips. I mean, I know that if you're a franchise or you're a brand, you're a franchisee, or, you're a store manager, whatever it might be, the big thing is talk to people. Network. Now, some personalities, I get this way a little more as I'm getting older, and that is I got to go back to the room and just clear my head, and I got to answer emails and do other things. because it can be almost overwhelming to be around person after person after person. But what I find happens so often in seeing this over and over again is you get back from a trade show, and I've had people share this frustration with me as well, and that is you've gotten so much information. Now you get back to the busyness of everything that you have to do, and you don't follow up and you don't keep those connections running. And so my encouragement for you is have a good strategy right there to re-engage people, and fail fast. If it's not a fit, if you don't see it as a fit, throw the business card in the pile, so to speak, go on to the next person. Because really what happens at the end of the day is if you make those right connections, you're going to achieve your mission. And one of the successes I've seen, just a little tip, is everybody seems to gather, not everybody, but quite a few people seem to gather at the end of the night to go out, and we've all been part of this, where they're all going out to have a good time.
Yep.
Just jump into a group of people. Usually they're more than willing to accept anybody into their group, and just go have fun and learn. And those are sometimes the best business opportunities, is to go visit with people and go out and have a good time.
Yeah, we've had some fun at the karaoke place in Florida. I remember that. That was fun.
The piano bars are crazy too.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of good times at piano bars.
Yeah, it's great meeting people, and especially me, because I'm the guy that sends all these people emails and tries to talk to them via the interwebs. But then when I actually go to a trade show, I get to meet these people, and they go, "Oh my gosh, that guy actually exists. It's not just a robot."
And I got to tell you guys this about Steve. For whatever reason, people love Steve. I don't know if it's just simply his wit or his good looks, but man, people sure enjoy chatting with him. I always smile because he has a tendency to talk with people that I never thought I'd have an opportunity to talk with. So
it's always fun. Well, thank you, Chris. And I love doing presentations at trade shows too. So if there's anything coming up, anyone has a trade show, Chris and I would love to stop by and do a presentation, just like a podcast.
Steve, one last tip before we close up the podcast, and that is around LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a growing network. We know that it's a powerful tool for business professionals. Have a great LinkedIn strategy. I'm even seeing now where people are like, I don't bring business cards. I just connect with people on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. I grew up in a business card world. But I tell you, I really believe in the power of LinkedIn and getting connected on that, because LinkedIn continues, when somebody changes jobs or moves on to something else, you're still following them. And if you do any sort of information or post, again, you're talking to people that are probably very interested in what you have to offer.
Definitely. And LinkedIn also has something somewhat new called like LinkedIn Now or LinkedIn Near Me or something, where you can turn it on when you're at a conference like this, and everyone else in the area will highlight and pop up, so you can connect with each other right there.
Another feature, of course, some of these features come and go, but there's a little feature you push when you're going to do a search for somebody, and it pops up with the ability to scan their business card.
Yeah.
And it immediately goes and finds them within LinkedIn and then adds them as a contact, which is huge.
Definitely. So they combined your two favorite things, LinkedIn and business cards. Look
Absolutely.
at that. Well, Chris, thank you for that. I'm looking forward to our trade shows. We have one at the end of January here, and then I know we have quite a bit more. I actually looked at them today. We have quite a bit, and we actually have space for 2 more, so that'll be entertaining. Interested to see what
more
we
things for you to make sure are fun and successful as you manage all that.
That is. Me and our finance lady got to look at all that stuff today and plan, and we have 2 more to choose, so that'll be fun. I'm sure you and I will be talking about that.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Definitely. Well, thank you, everybody. That's all we have time for today. Thank you for joining me, Chris, as always. And thank you, everyone, for listening to the podcast. We will catch you here next time on ATM.
You just listened to All Things Marketing Podcast. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast to catch every new episode every day. Want to be a guest on the show? Sign up at puredriven.com/guest. See you tomorrow here at the ATM.